Hello and welcome to the show. Haven't seen us for a little bit because we've had some technical issues. Tim, would you like to divulge that?
Yeah, we came up where, of course, it's been about 1,000 degrees over the past couple of weeks.
At least.
So we wanted to get some air conditioning in, and we had to rewire some things and get some electrical work done and so forth and so on. So
now he can turn on both lights at the same time.
There you go, both of them, all two of them.
Hey, you might notice a little something different about me. I had to go and get some glasses, so my youthful appearance is now. I look like a librarian now, basically.
That's okay. Hey, and listen, before you guys get going, and before you introduce our guest today, I didn't get a chance to make a commercial because we have been so much going on with electrical work and so forth. But we have a new sponsor, which we would love to welcome.
Yes, we would.
And that is, let me see if I can do this, guys. It's been 3 weeks since I've been over here. American Guitar Boutique.
American Guitar Boutique.
Yes, and they have been very, very kind to us, and
yes,
we look forward to working with them in the future.
Absolutely.
And they've got a brand new store, and it's flashed on your screen, but if you just happen to be listening to it and can't see it, it's at 707 13th Street, Phoenix City, Alabama, 36867. And also they are on Facebook, like all of us, and hey, look them up and get over there and get to see them.
Absolutely.
And Mike and Tim will take care of you.
They took care of me. I went over there recently because I needed a new guitar cable because I lost one of mine, and got some picks, and it was a very pleasant shopping experience. Is that commercial enough for you? No, but really, they're really good people, and they really helped me out, and I look forward to working with them, buying from them in the future because there is more stuff I need. Well, this week on the show, now that we're back, what better way to start off than to have Dee Armstrong back?
Hello, Dee.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's great.
Laid back Sunday afternoon.
And we had Dee on some time back, and we had some issues, but we are very happy to have her back again.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be back. I am.
I'm going to try to remember everything that we talked about last time and talk about it again.
Good luck. I've been trying to remember and just kind of have not been able to get it. Dee, can you pull that mic up to you a little bit?
Okay, here we go.
I've got a brand new board too, guys, so it's
right,
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want everyone to be able to hear you.
Okay.
So one thing that we did talk about last time, I know, was your working with Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
What led you to that idea?
Wow. I guess it was a combination of corporate and me. There's a big push now for companies to really grow their online presence.
Right.
And I guess I'm a guinea pig. And I had done well just experimenting with it, trying to learn it, because I knew, working at TV 38, we were number 3 in the market. And if I were to, it's kind of hard to change habits on television.
Yeah.
But you can push people to your television station through your social media.
Right.
Reminding them of who you are, where you are, what you're going to do, because they'll get you on social media. And so I grew a very large audience on social media, and all of a sudden corporate takes note. Oh, okay.
Hey, this works.
Yes. So you're full-time on Facebook Live now, but there's money to be made online. So you've got to really understand, I guess, some of the analytics and things. But basically, you get the viewers, and they'll be willing to work with you with advertising. So
right.
yeah, so that's and I like it. I notice that people are popping up from all over the world, literally. Yeah.
That is so wild because, with TV, depending on what kind of station it is or where, what station it is, some stations, very small stations, have a limited audience. Although with cable, I guess, things are a little wider. Mm-hmm. But the social media thing, because the internet literally is everybody in the world.
Yeah.
I recently started Facebook Living the last couple of open mics at Fountain City, and I have not worked with Facebook Live a lot. Tim does. We're on it now, but Tim does all the technical stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I experimented with it, and it's really neat. I mean,
It really is. You get to meet a lot of people, and you really see how small the world is in some ways, because we have people. A lady from Australia, she had a friend in somewhere who knew a friend somewhere who told her about the show. So you literally don't. Your reach is as I guess you can't count it. You could potentially have millions and millions of viewers. Now Columbus is concerned with the Columbus viewers, so I still have to stimulate the Columbus viewers, because those are the people that, if you're selling ads, they're going to go downtown Columbus and buy. So you still got to court that local market.
You've got to really basically focus on where you are, because that's what's going to be immediately impacted, because somebody in France cannot just go down to...
We're just entertainment to them.
Right.
Yeah, to the Columbus market, it's revenue. They're looking for revenue.
Now, I'm sorry, don't mean to interrupt. And I'm just looking, and I would like to say hi, because just within the last couple of minutes or so, we just had an explosion of people.
Ooh,
awesome.
Hello, everybody.
And they were saying, hi, Dee.
Hi, how are you doing? I don't know. I'll try to log on as we're talking, and maybe we can respond to them, because that's a big part of it. You learn to respond to the people who are on with you. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. So I'm up, and on Facebook, go to the show.
The show, right?
Right. Actually, should be on my timeline.
Okay, it's on Tim's timeline.
Look on our Timothy Childry, because we're doing some things with a page also. So,
Okay.
But
all right.
As she's looking that up, have you found that you like doing Facebook Live more than your television show?
I see myself. I see myself on the river. I see, and that's another thing. I had no idea what was in the green screen. We're on the river.
You're on the river.
Okay.
Shh, don't tell people we're on a green screen. We're actually got a studio
on the river.
river.
Yeah, and we're not hot. Wow. So was there a question? I'm sorry, I do digress.
No, I said, as far as your, have you found that you enjoy doing the social media, the Facebook Live, more than you did television? Or does each one have its pros and cons?
It's different. Yeah, it's different. I like them both. For me, Facebook Live gives me a little more freedom. When you're on television and people expect you to be on at 11:30, something has to be on at 11:30 exactly.
Right.
You can't go to black. But with Facebook, I also do the noon news. So if I'm stuck doing the news a little bit and I'm 5 minutes later or something, I still do the show. And I always tell people 11:15 or so, because I have to have that noon newscast finished. Yeah, so sometimes that'll hold me up. So that it gives you a little flexibility that way. Although you don't want to play with your audience too much. You want to be consistent, as often as possible. But it does give you that a little bit of leeway. And then you get to do that back and forth where you can actually talk to people while you're on. Okay, let me see if I can turn this down.
Her turn.
Okay,
I have the same problem.
Okay, so I just turned myself down. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I see like Kenny Miller. Hey, Kenny. Okay, it says write a comment. So I'll write a comment here. Hi, Kenny.
and
so it's a different kind of fun, and I do like it in that. I can talk with my guests a little longer. When I was on the air, they would contract for 5 minutes. So that's what sales promised them. They would get 5 minutes. But if I was in the middle of the juiciest conversation, I couldn't really give them more time. Then the sales is like, they're going to expect that every time you come now. So try to get it in 5 minutes. So now I can sit there and I talk to one person, and usually I talk until we're finished, as long as I'm off by 11:45. Which that means I've got to make that transition to do the news at 12. So I can really get a better interview a lot of times because I have more time. Mm-hmm.
That is one thing about broadcast TV that the time constraints are absolute, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm a little I'd like to figure out exactly. Now you do your show Facebook Live in the studio, is it broadcast on TV as well, or is it just on the?
No, it's only on Facebook. Sometimes I do the Facebook streaming. It depends on what sort of background or where I want to do it. When I'm outside in the lovely TV 38 parking lot, then we will use the cell phone. Okay,
Right.
and then I have some gadgets that I attach so I can do widescreen and I can improve the sound.
That's cool.
But that allows me to go outside if we're barbecuing or something like that.
Nice.
But inside the studio, I'm able to be in front of the green screen,
Right.
and then we can stream it. And then sometimes inside with the green screen, I can just use the phone. So Facebook is very versatile,
Yeah,
very versatile. So I'm able to do it a lot of different ways.
that's cool.
Now, Brian, you've never been in broadcasting of any type, have you?
The only thing that I've done was Minstrels on the Block and Day
That's right.
Trip at EATV, and that was a public access channel, which, if anybody in Columbus government is watching this, we could use a public access channel in Columbus. Because that's something I like to toss out there, because there are a lot of talented people here who could make a very entertaining channel if Columbus had a public access channel. They have a government channel. But they don't really have
the CCFC channel. Okay.
and that's something that Phoenix City kind of has an advantage in. That, of course, that's not taking anything away from the standard TV channels, because there's definitely a place for the professional TV.
I think there's a place for everything.
There
yeah.
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we did. The thing I do miss about my television live show was we had several segments, so I could get a lot of different things on.
Right.
Yeah. So, and because there are so many people doing so many fabulous things, and we have so many people from so many walks of life that had decided that when they retired or at a certain point in their life, they were going to stay in Columbus, Georgia. So there are a lot of stories in Columbus, Georgia that need to be told.
And Columbus has a gigantic population, like what, 500,000?
Is it 500,000 now? Well,
think in
the
that
immediate area was 250,000, 250 to 3. But I guess in the metro, add some more. We're getting up there, yeah. So we have a very large and diverse population.
And that's a lot of stories. So that's a lot.
Oh
of people.
yeah. I run into them all the time. So I like that, and I think that's what I'm kind of focusing in on now, is that because I love music, I love acting, and when I did television, I did all of that, and it was so much work, writing skits, performing skits, coming up with different songs and ditties. But here I do mostly on Facebook Live interviews.
Right.
So my goal really is to find those compelling stories that are of interest and hopefully will help someone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tim, do you think it might be time to go to a commercial and then come back and talk about
Well,
some...
he's springing that on me again. So.
It's really, it looks cruel because I like to just suddenly spring this stuff on Tim. Really, I just suddenly think of it, and it's like, oh, yeah, I should have told him about this like 5 minutes ago. But
It's not that cool, depending on which side of the computer you're on.
Oh, wow.
But it's great for your entertainment.
Timeless Beauty at the Gypsy Cherub, 3760 Woodruff Road, Columbus, Georgia. Class is back in style.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to to get ourselves a treat.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Special guest, Dee Armstrong.
You've gotten me started with this Facebook thing. I'm trying to share to my Facebook page now.
I just did it. I don't know if it worked. But
Okay.
Yes, it did. It popped
you-
up. It's
Oh, you did? Let's see. Okay. I tell you, when they got together and came up with this Facebook thing, it's awesome.
it was genius.
well, it's been around for a long time. It's just no one is. I mean, you've got these days. That's not only do you have Facebook, you have Periscope, which is on Twitter.
Right.
We have Instagram. We have
I love Instagram.
YouTube does their thing,
Yeah.
and of course, you always had Skype, which is, I guess, the oldie but
Right.
reliable. But
The cool thing about Facebook, though, is like when I used to play Henry's open mic at the Dell Ranch back in the day, and sometimes Gene Woolfolk would bring his laptop and live stream it on Ustream. And I don't know who saw that, because you have to go find Ustream, you have to go find the channel. On Facebook, it just pops up right in front of everybody's face.
Right.
Like
And,
the whole
and
thing
you
is
go
just-
to it or you don't. Yeah.
Right. And it's like Facebook. They were geniuses. It's like perfection, because everybody's on Facebook. It's just right there.
Very
And you-
rich geniuses.
And I'll go ahead and tell everybody, whether it's us or if you do go on and you watch D, there is a little box that pops up that says, please click here to get notified every time D goes on the air.
Right.
Guys,
Yes.
click that, and, or it's not going to pop up.
Right,
But if you click
yeah.
that, then, of course, it'll let you know every time D comes on.
Right.
I know that she wakes me up usually every morning around 9 o'clock, but I forget to turn it off. And I was listening to Dee earlier, and she said, well, I go on at 11:15 because I have the noon news. She doesn't want to be modest, because I know for a fact she goes on much, much earlier than that.
Oh, I'll go on at 9 too. 9 was supposed to be just if you look at the analytics as to when people watch Facebook, so I said, okay, how am I going to do this? There's a 9 o'clock surge for some reason. So I said, I'll take advantage of that. I'll just let them know what today's show is going to be and what I'm giving away. And you just get on and you just start talking, and you just can't stop. It's supposed to be like a brief reminder that the show is coming up at 11:15. But it turned into a completely, almost a show in itself. I'm like, oh my goodness. Because people start talking to you, how are you, Dee? What happened to this? And then you have to respond.
Right,
So I'm
right.
like, wow. So this isn't working. I'm supposed to just be on here for 2 or 3 minutes and let you know that I'm coming up at 11:15 and who's coming on today. But I enjoy it.
And it's much more personable. And that's
It is.
I know every time I go on, Dee always says, hi, Tim Childry. And I mean, every morning, she always greets you. And it's really nice, especially from an interviewer standpoint, that
Right.
you can actually tell your viewers, good morning, hello, how are you?
Yeah. And that's something
pretty neat.
that you don't get with standard TV, because you can wave at people out there and you can say hello, but yeah, with Facebook Live you can actively, like, back and forth communicate with them, which is cool. Of course, you can only do so much of that. Like when I live streamed at Fountain City, it was kind of a pain to try to answer people back while it's streaming, because I have it in panoramic mode, so it's like you're trying to type. It's like
Now, Miss Dee, I noticed that
What?
as she goes on and with doing her Facebook, you're actually beginning to increase frequency of using Facebook. I noticed that. Of course, she's got the 9 coming on when she tells us, which that's usually when she tells me that I won, but she doesn't. she goes, hi, Tim, I've got to tell everybody the rules right now. So I'm like, oh, well. But, you get to do your own spots.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like I said, the guys over at American Guitar Boutique, I was talking with them, and they actually went to a convention up in Nashville. And they were told by industry professionals, the best thing you can do, get a phone and ride the wave of social media, do your own commercials.
Yeah.
You won't pay for it, and that's working out great for them.
Yeah, I think that's a compelling reason for a lot of people. I read that Steve Harvey says, you know what, I'm not going to be locked into these corporate contracts anymore. I'm going to do Facebook. I'm going to do social media. Now I own everything. I'm not waiting for you to pay me or cancel me.
Right.
I have to cancel myself. So there's a lot of pluses to be structured in the corporate world, and then there's some pluses, too.
Right.
I'm doing this for me. Everything on there is me. I own it. Any of the ads go to 100% to me. So.
Yeah, and once you get a lot of people, and it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a name and you're advertising, say whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and those people are buying it, there's no overhead. It all goes to you.
Mm-hmm. Now there's a split. Facebook gets theirs. There's a split.
Right.
I was reading the contract. After you get so many numbers, then they pitch certain commercials, or you can bring commercials, and then you split. They get part of your
I
money,
gotcha.
but
That's
the
fair.
part that belongs to you is yours. If you're on your own. But now I don't have commercials. I'm still part of the corporate world with TV 38, so
Right.
I'm not making money on commercials or anything like that. That could happen in the future, when I'm out on my own.
Natural
But right now,
progression of
I'm
things.
having fun with TV 38. I'm going to stay there as long as I can. And I actually enjoy doing the news still after all these years. So
Wow.
as long as they'll have me, I'll stay.
Now, do you prefer the news or do you prefer the interview process with people?
Oh, I prefer the interviews 150 million trillion
It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's still fun doing
Yes, yes. I like doing the news in that helping the younger people with the process of putting it together and overseeing some of the grammar and the sentence structure and
Right.
trying to make sure that we attribute facts to the right person, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But as far as being pleasurable, I think I like the interviews with the people because I really am finding things out about them, and I really do hope that something that they say helps somebody.
Right, yeah.
That just gives me a lot more pleasure. Yeah.
And we were talking a little while ago about like all the stories out there. A lot of people just in Columbus, and there's a lot of stories there. How do you go about choosing which stories or which talents that you want to have on your show?
Well, I guess there are different variables that go in. You don't want to have the same theme all the time,
Right.
and that's kind of hard because someone may have had a serious illness, and you may have done 4 serious illnesses in a row, and you
Right.
want to help them, but it's like I can't stay on this, because
Right.
I may lose, I'll start losing viewers and things,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and it becomes, I don't want to say boring, but it becomes less of a let's watch factor. So some of it is the topic. Some of it is who's the person that actually wants to come on. Sometimes people have a great topic, but they want to tell it when they really need to let someone else tell it. They may be the office manager, but it's really not about you, Mr. Office Manager. It's about the client,
Yeah.
And I want to talk to the client. So if they don't want to do that, they want to come on and tell me, well, there's going to be an event. I said, yeah, the event is to raise money for this client. Can I talk to the client? No,
Right.
I just want to give you the dates and the times. I said, well, then that's a calendar. I'm not a calendar.
Right.
It's about interviewing people.
Right.
I want to hear how they came through that event that in their life, and I don't need a calendar. So that's part of it. And then the other is sometimes whoever's available. Woo.
That does happen.
Yes, sometimes you're on a roll and it's like, oh man, there's so many people calling. And then, you'll get a week and you say, oh my goodness, kind of slowed down. I better start stirring stuff up again,
Yeah, that was my
So,
next question. How do you find them? Because, certainly when you're on broadcast TV, you have people that are quick enough to offer up their stories. But
I think if you do a good job, the people talk to each other because a lot of people say, so and so was on and they told me to call you. So and so was on, they told me to call you.
Right.
So if they leave with a good experience, they tell their friends. And so I get people trying to find me. I rarely have to look for anyone.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
I
very
get
good.
people, who they had friends who were on, and then the friend told them,
Right.
or they were watching the Facebook Live,
Yeah.
and they said, "Oh wow, okay, you really need to talk to so and so. I have a neighbor, and this happened."
Wow. What is your favorite story to tell? Because some people, might like to do the, say, serious illness issue
Mm-hmm.
just to help people. Others might be more into the, well, this guy's a musician, I like music. What is your personal favorite?
I don't know that it's a certain genre, but what I like to do is to be able to talk in depth enough and know enough, and I try to do as much research as I can before they come on, so that I can get to some really cool stories. Like we had Otis Redding Jr. on,
Wow.
and his dad Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay. Well, so just finding out who he was, what was it like to grow up like that. So I like to be able to get into people's heads.
Right.
How did you become the person that you are?
Yeah.
When did you know you could sing? What advice would you give to someone? What was the dumbest thing you ever did? Just finding out about people, it helps me. And then I realize, okay, Dee, you're not the only one who did dumb things. And or it's like, I just love getting into people's heads, and finding out how they became who they are.
Well, to immediately steal one of these questions, what was the dumbest thing you ever did?
On television, the dumbest thing I ever did. It's not one. It's probably 2 or 3 things. I don't even know. Well, I know one time I had an interview, and we were running up to the person. I was putting on some makeup, and ladies will tell you this. I take my little mirror and I put a couple of dots of rouge on my face, and you're supposed to blend it.
Right. I think I know where this is going.
Yes, I'm doing an interview, and he's not telling me. He says, why are these dots going up the side of your face? And I'm like, why didn't somebody tell me I had dots up the side of my face? It was just, so this is just ridiculous. Just like, we didn't know. We thought you wanted it that way. So, of course I didn't want it this way. And then people don't want to say anything.
Right.
It's like, so that was one of the dumb things,
They thought Dee was being cutting edge.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
you know what I personally like, and especially with we discussed this last time Dee was here, and we couldn't air that interview because of the technical problems.
Right.
But she was actually telling us out of all her interviews, she has 2 gentlemen that are chefs from Atlanta,
That's right.
and that one of her most watched interviews was how to cut a watermelon,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
which I
Yes.
thought was fascinating
Yeah,
because
how to pick a watermelon that's sweet.
True.
Yeah, and then where to cut it to get the sweetest part of
Remind
the
me,
watermelon.
because Stacy and I have several times this year gotten watermelons. Well, one was from Walmart, go figure. The other was from a guy on a truck by the road in somewhere out in Georgia. We were driving around, and neither of those were good.
Oh, really? Oh,
How
wow.
do you correctly pick a
Let
watermelon?
me see if I can remember what they said. They said there is a male and a female watermelon. The longer watermelon is the male,
Did not
and
know
it
that.
has more water in it. Okay, the rounder watermelon is the female, and it's more dense. Now, what they say about the sweetness, I forgot. I
think there's something about the stem on the end. If it's dried out looking, it's better.
I don't think they went there. I think
Okay.
they looked. They said turn it over, and if it's brown, it's been sitting there longer, and actually, I guess not fermenting, but the juices have been getting sweeter.
Ripening.
And if it's more yellow and it doesn't look like it's been on the ground that long, then somebody picked it a lot sooner. I think that was their primary thing. And
I will be on the lookout for that.
yes, and I think they said that the sweetness was in the middle, more so.
And how do you properly cut it?
In the middle, right? I guess.
Okay, I was doing that right.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and I'll say this too: if you want to, you can go to Dee's page, and that is
Oh, yeah.
And
Dee
scroll down.
Armstrong. Remember Dee Armstrong, WLTZ.
WLTZ, yes.
Yes.
And all those shows are on her page.
So get your scrolling thumb ready.
Oh yeah, and that's a good thing about Facebook too, is that those episodes, I guess, or those segments are always growing. So, because they'll find you and they'll just start scrolling, and then you'll see, the
Yeah.
numbers are up. I did that 3 weeks ago, but they're scrolling, and and I do that to other people's pages. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Now, before we go to the next commercial, what's your your future plans for using Facebook Live. Do you plan to continue that as an experiment, that you'll go back to the classic way of doing the show, or will you just continue on and just go with whatever the technology brings?
I have these ideas always just bouncing around in my head. I know that I won't be on television, for forever and forever. Right. But I think I'll use Facebook probably forever and forever. My family and I, we go through and we're not contractors, but we renovate old buildings, and right. I love to do that on Facebook Live. I haven't done it as much lately because let me tell you something. Now, this is just the truth. When you watch HGTV and they're standing there looking beautiful and they're supposed to be working on a project, it's a lie from hell. It's a lie from hell. So sometimes I'm looking so bad. I said, "Oh, we can't do this one," because you're tiling and and you have grout and and it's like I can't go live like this. I can't go live like this. And so my son in Atlanta, he said, "Mom, we were on the scene of something." He's in real estate, and one of our pieces was on something, so we were there. He said, "This is what they do. They come in with the stars, and they have their hair and their makeup or whatever, and they get ready and they go, and they stop. And then they bring in this crew that does all the work, and then they come back and they go, and they say they haven't done anything." So with Facebook, I do eventually want to figure out how I can show people some of the things we do, because we get so many hits. Because I have my grandson working. They say I'm a slave driver. Yes, I am. My daughter comes down from Atlanta. My son comes down. My other son comes from across town. And that's what we call free labor in the mama world. Yes. Free labor. Okay.
So now I know why Chip and Joanna Gaines look so beautiful when they're on television now. Because they're fixing up houses, and Joanna Gaines always looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and there's no way you're going to look gorgeous fixing a house up.
Ladies and gentlemen, even reality TV does fake stuff.
Yes. But my son said, "Mom, they act like they're going to hit something, then they stop, and somebody else comes in and does all the work. Then they come back and they say, okay." So that's about the size of it.
Wow, that's called working smarter, not harder.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, are you ready for a commercial there, Tim?
Yep.
Excellent. Let's go to a commercial.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this.
Hello, I'm Catherine Childry with Let's Vocalize. For over 35 years, I've coached vocalists and groups privately. I also perform vocal workshops training choirs. I'd love the opportunity to show you how direction, discipline, vocal health care, and regular practice can drastically improve you, your group, or your choir's performance. Call me at 706-536-6123 or visit us online at www.letsvocalize.com. I'd love to help you offer your best gift.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
It's so good hot. It's so good cold.
It hits the spot with young and old.
Yes, Toddy pleases everybody. Delicious chocolate malted Toddy, made with rich, real milk, not powdered milk.
So come and get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Delicious.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Very special guest, Dee Armstrong. Glad to have her back again. And this is a part of the show where we like to pimp stuff. And not that Dee needs to pimp a lot of stuff, but is there anything that you want everybody to know about where they can find you? Anybody who's maybe living under a rock somewhere?
Okay. Oh, sure. I tell you what, it's the morning news. I'm on the morning news starting at 5 on WLTZ. And I love my coworkers. We have a lot of fun. So if you like the news, but you don't like to be too serious, and you want some good sources of information, watch us at 5. And then I do come back on at noon, and we have the 6, 10, and 11. We're about to go to a 5 o'clock newscast. So it's really interesting to see the station growing. And I hope you can, just go through that experience with us. Great people on the air. great people on the air. Did I pimp myself enough? And then I have some things coming up. I don't know whether to talk about them or not, but got some cool stuff coming up personally. Some things that I want to do, but I want to make sure that I have everything ready to go when it happens. So just stay tuned. I think you'll like it.
And they can always get these updates on your Facebook page.
Yeah, because I will. Boom.
Yeah. Like I said, hey, go up there and have our little notifications cut on, and Dee will be before you 24/7.
Yeah, I'm telling you, sharing is caring. It's what I say. Share. When we come up, share. When it's you follow me, and then it says see me first. I think that see me first. You click that button. And all that button is that when I go live, you'll get a notification that I'm live. It's not going to become something that's going to get on your nerves. If you don't want to go live to watch it, you don't have to watch it. If you do, you do. It just lets you know that you have an option. Okay.
I actually was sitting home last night with my wife, and we were sitting there, and my phone went off, and it said Dee Armstrong is live. I said, what in the world is Dee doing on on a Saturday evening? Next thing I know, Dee's at a party.
Oh, it was so much fun. We were down at the Trade Center with, I don't know if you remember Shalimar. Second time around.
I'm familiar with the name Shalimar.
Okay. Well, the lead singer, Howard Hewitt, who can still sing.
Wow.
I had he tore the place up at the Trade Center. It was the Echo Latino Community Awards. The newspaper recognizes people in the community every year.
Cool.
And I was a presenter, and my mother was going to come. I said, Mom, don't come to this one. Because at the end of these, I dance, and you're going to be ready to go home. I said, I dance until they throw us out, so we danced and danced and danced. And so I couldn't help it. I said, I was live. And I said, he sees me live. I hope he doesn't say, now, you guys shut down those Facebooks. But he didn't. I stayed up there for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, didn't I? I said, I got your concert, buddy. But, he probably realizes it helps him, too. Because once people remember that genre of songs, that era, he sings love ballads. Maybe they'll go back and download some of his songs. So I'm thinking that he was thinking that, too.
Yeah. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Meantime, all I could do, I was doing the Hustle and Piggly Wiggly with Bear O'Brien on.
Do the hustle.
That's all I could afford to do.
You will always hear Bear O'Brien at Piggly Wiggly.
There you go.
Giving away $500, which I never win. It's like,
and speaking of giveaways, Dee, you pretty much have a lot of giveaways during the week.
Yeah, I do. I like buy my viewers. I'm like, if you won't watch me,
that's what I'm talking about.
Watch for some stuff.
Wait. Let me see if I can do this. Hook me up, Dee.
I said, all you have to do is say, hook me up, Dee. And I said, when you say hook me up, Dee, because upstairs, there's everything has to be legal. You have to tell me what you want me to hook you up with. And people will just say, hook me up, Dee. And I'm like, I can't give you anything because you didn't ask for anything specific. So it's like, hook me up, Dee, for the umbrella. I give away umbrellas, really nice umbrellas when it's raining a lot. We give away gift cards. And you have to say, hook me up, Dee. I want the gift card or whatever.
I gotcha.
Now your name goes in the hat. But all is just hook me up, Dee. There's nothing I can do with that,
I don't even want to win anything, and I want to say, hook me up, Dee.
Okay.
Well, no one here has actually said, hook me up, Brian or Tim. So that's the reason we've never given away anything.
Well, I'll tell you, once you start giving away things, people start sending you things to give away. So you got to start giving stuff away. It'll dawn on them, hey, that's another market. I send them 2 of those books, or I send them 2 of those toys, or 2 of those, and now 100 people are going to call me because they want one too. Yeah. So people send me stuff all the time, and I try not to keep any of it, but sometimes I do. This week we're giving away. They sent me 2 more. The Sharper View, I think. The
Sharper Image. I wanted
the Sharper
so
Image.
bad.
Yeah, Sharper Image. Yes. Yeah, so I went home and there were 2 more. But the Sharper Image key finders. You put the little fob on your keychain, and you have the fob with you in your house, and you can't find your keys, right? So you just walk around, you press the button. There's my key right there.
I know somebody who needs that.
Yeah, I do too. Actually, I'm sitting here looking. My wife just logged on. She's in the house. So, baby, we need a Sharper Image key finder badly.
So I haven't used it yet. I am going to keep one for myself, but they needed AAA batteries, and I have yet to go get my AAAs. Yeah, so I had plenty of AA's, but I mean, hopefully it works. I always have the disclaimer: this is not my product. You know,
Right.
I hope it works. I hope it works.
Now, I ask this question of most of my guests, but you have been in the business for a while, and you're on the professional level. What advice would you give to up-and-coming people who want to do stuff? I generalize that.
Facebook or television?
Anything that people want to do, they want to be professional. I usually say, what advice would you give to aspiring musicians, to aspiring writers, to aspiring actors? What advice would you give to aspiring anybody?
I would say that there's some things you can't hide in front of a camera. If you're doing it just because I want to be seen, that vibe kind of comes off.
Right,
Do it because you really want to do it and you like to do it, and then that vibe comes off. There are people who, I guess, in coming up, someone will tell them, "You're so pretty, you should be on TV." Well, you're pretty and you're pretty boring. That can happen. You're pretty, but that or somebody may say you don't have a television face. And maybe you don't have a television face, but you're the total package. Maybe you don't look like a movie star, but you work.
Right.
So I think it's more what's inside. That makes will help you to make money and get you in front of people that can promote you and that sort of thing. So I would say do it for the right reasons. If you're just doing it because you want to be seen, and you don't really have the heart for it, and you don't really have the personality for it, and you don't really have the drive for it, because to do a good interview, those types of interviews require research and time, and it's work. It's work. It's work, and then there's a certain amount of professionalism. You have to remember names. Woo. And titles, and what company do you work with? Woo. So it's I would say be prepared and ask yourself why you're doing it. If you're doing it just to be seen, then maybe something else is what you need to do.
Follow your actual passion and your actual talents, and you'll put more into it maybe.
Yeah.
I know as we're wrapping things up here, and we've got maybe 5-10 minutes more, guys. If you're logged on and you have a question for Dee, I know that she struggled with this when she first started her Facebook thing. Was like, please ask me a question. So guys, if you have anything you'd like to ask Dee, or if you would like to make fun of Brian's new glasses or anything like that, then hey, please.
Wow. I see Ricky Thornton here says volunteer in the area of your desire. Okay, yeah, volunteer. And I would say that tomorrow our conversation is going to be with an Auburn soon-to-be grad, and we're talking about the power of internships. So she's volunteering. Our internships are unpaid. So she says it's her gas and her time. But I said, you got to look at it like this. This is like taking another class, but you're not really paying for it. This is a free class. At the end of this, or the beginning of it, whenever you pay your money, you don't have to pay. So you're learning a lot. So I would say volunteer, just as Ricky said. That's a good one, Ricky Thornton. And it'll help you to understand. And I usually ask the young people after a while, I say, you sure you want to do this? Because it's not what you think it is. You're on the air for maybe, if you're doing the news, out of that 30 minutes, you have commercial time, you have weather time, you have the other anchor time, you have sports time. You're not really up there but a couple of minutes, so you're doing all that work all day long, and you're really not up there for a couple of minutes.
Right. It's like music. You if you look at how much time people spend practicing with their band, as opposed to how much the 3 hours on stage for a gig, that glory don't last long.
I'm telling you. So I said, it's not what you think it is.
Right.
It really isn't. So you have to like the process as well as being on the air. But I think people fall in love with being on the air.
Right, yeah.
But if you don't like the behind the scenes, you don't like bosses and crazy coworkers.
See, I've had all that.
Deadlines.
What's so funny with me, to me right now, I mean, and I know that Dee does this, but it seems to be a phenomenon that's taking place in different broadcasts especially in the news across the country, but they will go on and they will do their report or so forth and so on. And actually says you've got so many compartments, and she'll hand it off to the weather guy and immediately pick up her iPhone and they'll go on Facebook Live. And it's amazing to me because you see the transition of the on-air persona, and then suddenly they're just going to Dee or, whomever it may be.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, Dee's got this thing on in the morning. And who is this gentleman? He has the number.
The random number with Miller Robson, and he does question and answer. And that was another thing. I told him, I said, when we started our morning news, we're going up against the giants, of which I was on the other station when we helped to propel it to number one. So I'm like, I'm telling you how we got there. Okay. So I knew you had to find ways to get in front of people.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to go Facebook Live, in at the appropriate times in the morning news, and we get an audience. I said, now those people, they may be watching the other channel, but we just went Facebook Live, and now they're watching us too. And so maybe tomorrow they tune in to us, So it works. You have to go after your audience. When we were trying to be number one, when I was at the other station, we did everything we could think of, and it worked eventually.
You have to try stuff.
Yes.
I've got a story that I like to tell. I've got, I'm a musician. I've got songs. Well, I discovered these potato chips called Rap Snacks, and each one of them has like a different wrapper on it. I like the hot and spicy Little Boozies. There's another one. It's like New York cheddar or whatever. But it's these really good potato chips.
Really?
Yeah, they're awesome. They're like really good. So what I did was, I've got a blue screen at home, and I made a quick little snippet, and I scored it with the chorus to one of my songs, put it on Instagram. Rap Snacks shared it on their page, and now it's got like 1,700 views. And it's like,
where do you get Rap Snacks?
Okay, if where Winton Road comes down the hill, not Winton Road, not Buena Vista Road, Winton Road come together, then you can go down the hill, down Winds Hill, or you can circle around down this way.
Okay.
Henson Galleries.
Okay. Henson Galleries.
Right across the road from Henson Galleries is a Lucky Food Mart.
Oh yes.
Rap Snacks, they have them.
Lucky's famous.
Yeah, they should be. They got Rap Snacks.
They've been busted.
You have
For
a comment.
something. I forget. Something happened there.
Probably.
Okay.
You have a comment from
Okay.
someone by the name of Catherine Clay Childry who would like to comment on the difficulty in your own business. So
The difficulty of my business?
she says they like the glory but not the work. And
okay. Yes. And I think that's becoming more and more prevalent in that and we talk about that a lot. There's like different generations in the newsroom. The older generation is like, we were journalists. we were journalists. We've got cutie pies coming in here now. It's like, do you want to be cute, or you want to dig for the news? So it's kind of a mixture of it now. It's a mixture of it. I won't tell you some of the things we say, but okay.
Well, there's a difference between wanting to be like an actual, dig for it journalist, and there's another section that's entertainment. And I think maybe some people get that mixed up. They
do. They see someone and they see that she has perfect hair, perfect makeup or whatever, and she's sitting there and she's doing the news. And that's usually an anchor who had the time and the opportunity to have that all done for her.
Yeah.
If you're going to start out as a reporter, you may be covering something at 5:40 and you got to go on at 6.
Yeah.
Now, your news director doesn't care if your hair's in place.
Right.
You better have a story. You better have a story, and it better be right, and it better not get us in trouble.
Right, yeah.
And,
a lot at stake there.
Yeah, so it's But then you get these, they have heels on. It's like, why did you go to that shoot with your heels on? So
Right.
I think that maybe just America gives that bad impression, that different impression, that it's all about beauty and the hard work is secondary. But in our business, the hard work is primary, and hopefully you have time to freshen up. But if you don't, you just don't.
And that kind of is going to lead us to our last question, because it's kind of getting on. And Tracy Morey said, how much prep time for 10 minutes on the air? How much prep time does it take for you to go on a 10-minute segment on the air?
Oh, gosh. It would depend on the content of the 10 minutes. If it's an interview, it can take a couple of hours, because I like to find I really like to dig and find, where this person grow up. Something, I like to hit people with something that they are amazed that I know. So you have to dig for that. So it can take a long time. Or it could be something where there's just so much already Googled and so much already right there in front of you that you just, Google a little bit and you've got a bunch of information right there. So it really depends. It depends on your goal with that person or that interview, I guess. It depends. But it's a lot more than 10 minutes. I think. It takes you a lot longer than 10 minutes to be ready for 10 minutes. And for those people who don't do that, you can tell the difference, So.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it for this episode of the show. We've been a great pleasure to have Dee on.
That's a ball having Dee on. Actually, I love having Dee on for the simple reason that everybody knows Dee Armstrong, but they don't know Dee Armstrong, if you know what I mean. They don't know the Dee Armstrong that's not on camera all the time.
Right.
And it's just fascinating for me to be able to talk to people like that. And
well, thanks. Yeah, and I want to say this, too. Since we're doing shameless self-promotion, I know Tim because his wife is my vocal coach. As a matter of fact, she's a friend, too. She just gave me this beautiful dress. I called it my Elvira dress. It's a long, flowing dress.
Nice.
With these lace arms. And I just rocked it the other day at an event. But she's become a very good friend of mine. But I used to sing quite a lot when I was younger, and somehow I entered in this stage of my life where I had a lot of stage fright. And so she's working with me with that. We're getting a lot. I'm just finding I just am able to relax so much more. I think I sang because it was just fun.
Right.
And then when it started getting serious, I'm like, then it's like these people are taking me seriously. I can't do that. And I kind of psyched myself out of it or something. So I'm getting to where I'm enjoying it now.
You've got to send me a picture. I know which dress she's talking about. I have to say, black. Is it black dress?
Yes,
I know which one you're talking
floor-length
about.
black dress. Yeah, so she's a seamstress, and so and she loves the Lord. So I just want to say thank you so much, Catherine Childry. Let's Vocalize is the name of her company. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, Catherine does a great job, and some people I have known have been her students who have come to Fountain City and played, and so yeah, she does good work. But,
and you know what I'm going to say too right now, as we wrap things up, that you guys need to keep us. Catherine finally, she says you have an awesome gift.
Oh, thank you. Should I do a siren for them? I'm only kidding.
It probably takes
That's
like
a warm-up.
30 seconds to get to her and 30 seconds back.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we have a full month next month. A lot of fascinating guests coming up. We have writers. We have musicians. It's just a plethora. Yeah, they all knew I was going to go there. A plethora of talent. Okay. But please join us. And Tracy, I'll get that commercial fixed before next week, I promise.
And Tim, I'm really digging the table. I think this works.
That's good.
You said you're restructuring here. Until next time, I'm your host, Brian Mallard. We got Tim over there running things, and he's doing all the stuff that I really don't know how to do. And we got Dee Armstrong. Thank you so much for coming on.
Love being on the river with you. I love it.
Okay. Guys, have a great week, and we will see you next Sunday.
Next Sunday.